we were supposed to be fasting. So, and you stop cooking exactly at sunset. That's what staunch SDS do. So when it teaches 7, before we pray for Sabato, we eat these things in a span of 15 minutes in between. Sasa tunaanza na chai na chapati. Tunashiba. After 15 minutes, ugali na samaki. Sasa tunalala. It was expected that sasa tumeshiba, hii inatupusha hadi Saturday jioni. I don't know whether that logic is true ama it was overeating. Not in relation to this. I hope to take a break kama 30 minutes. We listen to submissions. After tea, we now go to ugali. Not in 15-minute break, but a bit sometimes that we allow food to go in. I'm not a seller, as you've seen, but my relationship with GIZ is that GIZ has been a good partner in the Western region, especially right now where they are supporting agribusiness. My name is George Abuajo. I come from Kisumu here, probably schooled around here in my early years. What I do, I run Gulfab, incubation, where we work with businesses, train SMEs. At the county government, the Secretary for County Budget Economic Forum, where the governor is the chair. And we also work with Philippe, apart from the ecosystem whereby he is part of WINA. We, most of the time weekends, we volunteer to the society through Kisumu Youth Caucus. So we are basically in the youth ecosystem. Although I'll be soon retiring from youth in 2 or 3 years. I want early retirement. So before I start, GIZ has an agribusiness program in the Western region that was launched last year that covers about 5 counties. Bungoma, Kakamega, Siaya, Vihiga, and Kisumu counties. The intention is to increase employability through training, strengthening of self-organization. That's why most of you people are in groups, and also promotion of employment. What we have been doing as agribusiness strategy, what we are doing as agribusiness, they are majorly young people, county staff, private sector involvement. This is the task force that I'm chairing called Agri-Jobs for Youth for Kisumu County. This strategy that Mr. Rodi is also guiding us on as a consultant is to put a roadmap for the next 4 to 5 years and guide most of the agribusiness programs that are happening in Kisumu County. What we are doing is we have developed the roadmap domestication strategy. We'll be coordinating drafting. We'll be directing drafting to stakeholders. And finally, probably present the draft to you. Now, in less than a month's time, we'll call again another meeting like this. And our work, we shall subject it to you, the young people of Kisumu, as the major stakeholders. Sasa tutauliza kama hayo maoni yalikuwa yenu, or where would you want us to be? One speaker talked about productivity. Agriculture, when you look at a report called County Gross Domestic Product, every county has some wealth that's contributing to the whole GDP. Sasa kuna report inaitwa County Gross Domestic Product. Kisumu County contributes about 1.7% to Kenya's wealth. Agriculture contributes 25% of Kisumu's GDP. Sisi sote tumejua GDP. Agriculture contributes 25% to Kisumu's wealth. But that 25% that agriculture contributes in Kisumu, it's being relied on by 60% of people. Therein, from that figures, shows that there is low productivity from agriculture. It is expected that whatever you give is what you receive. Sindio? If we give in, if agriculture gives 25%, naturally, we ought to possibly, the people employed should be less than that amount. But by majority of Kisumu County residents, 60% of them are in agriculture, but they only contribute 25%. That one informed them of the need of strategy. What can be done about productivity? I think one of the things that we've tackled in the strategy is what Mr. Rodi has said is we lack enterprises to compete. That we don't need to fight people who import things, in speaking of aquaculture, like fish in China. But if we expand at a level where our cost of production is low, we can compete against the Chinese. Now, there were certain things that we found out from a report. I think for 5 minutes, I'll just give highlights. The East African region, we are the lowest consumers of fish. In China, an average acre or an average farmer has about 2.1 hectares as a fish cage or as a fish pond. 2.1 hectares, HA, not acres. It means their level of production is low compared to here. If you go on Google Map at your own time and you Google the fish cages in China, you'll be surprised. There is a total of 7.2 million hectares. Putting that into perspective, the area of Lake Victoria in Kenya, peke yake, the area of Lake Victoria in Kenya is only 410,000 hectares. So what this means is that China as a country, has adopted something called economies of scale. That if each farmer has a big area of fish pond or fish cages under him, and their majority in a place, leveraging on the low cost of feeds, they are able to produce fish at a much lower cost than Kenya. So what we have captured in our strategy is how we can have few big enterprises. We have segmented enterprises that we know that for this county to develop, there needs to be levels of enterprises. So how can young people, we can uplift the young people already something, to be super entrepreneurs. Have a business that employs about 8 to 10 people. You are super entrepreneurs. And those businesses probably may need capitalization of up to 10 million. Now there will be the next level 2 tier business that employs 1 or 2 people. What we want to create is we want to create wealth, we want to create money. And we've gone down to detail now. If currently what's happening, that if we take 2 billion to support businesses, agribusinesses in Kisumu, aquaculture, key among them, how much are we going to get after 3 years? Our calculation has produced that if today county government of Kisumu and development partners put 2 billion in aquaculture, you and other people doing businesses, we are going to get 8 billion per year from profits. Again, putting that into perspective, county government of Kisumu gets 8 billion in a year. So fish, if we decide to invest 2 billion today, you have the capacity to get us an equivalent of amount that runs Kisumu County. That's just pure. We gave it the lowest figure possible. Thirdly, we also tackled what takes us, young people, not to be attracted to agribusiness. And we also took that from the lowest point, that as an average boda gets 1,000 shillings per day, 1,500 shillings per day. Now, if you go to a place like Muhoroni, young people probably have left their father's lands lying, tens of acres. They have left doing agribusiness and have gone to do boda. What that one means is our businesses have to make sense. That an alternative if we have to take young people from boda boda, the business that they are going to do in agribusiness, if it is horticulture, they have to earn more than 1,000 shillings a day. If we are going to, this guy, if he has to drop the boda boda and get him attracted to agribusiness, the fishing, that thing has to make sense. Because boda boda is easier. So why should he struggle for 800 shillings a day? So we put all that into perspective, knowing that, and we took the dependency ratio, as Daktari said, of 8 people, that an average Kisumu person supports 8 people at home. Mimi nikiwa kama Bwajo, nikipata pesa niko na bibi, a normal family unit is 4 people. So I support my wife and 2 kids. Now, apart from supporting my wife and 2 kids, there is my grandfather, there is my father, there is a cousin. That's how we calculate the dependency ratio. So how much can I live comfortably and remain with something above poverty level and still maintain a good life? We found that an average income in Kisumu County for you to live well should be about 80,000 Kenya shillings. 80,000 Kenya shillings. 80,000. If you were to live well in Kisumu. So if we calculate that in a year, we found that in a year your business should get 800,000 Kenya shillings. Now that is what we call net income, which translates to a disposable income, the amount you're allowed to spend. It means your gross profit should be 3 times as much as that. That's why Dr. Rodi said, your business, we are targeting businesses that will produce 3 million in a year. Hiyo ndio tulifanya hesabu tuka ensure. So as I am finishing, I would like to possibly appreciate, I think for the GIZ, I'll talk about youth organization. Lastly, one key component that we've captured in the strategy and which GIZ has offered to help is how us young people can be organized. Can we have a platform, not only for young people in aquaculture, but for young people in agribusiness? All of us in Kisumu County were interested. Can we be in one place, organized in our group, even if it's WhatsApp, even if it's a Facebook group, and therein we can get shared, we can be organized in a way so that we can get benefits from the county government and the development partners. If we, the young people, are organized, because organization is a key component of GIZ and is a key component of our strategy, so that a young person in Ahero should be aware that the county government is possibly going to distribute poultry in his ward. So that's the level of organization that we ask for. And probably from this point, we want to see young people in agribusiness in one central organization. It would be easy to capacity build you. It should be easy to attract funds for your business, as our strategy puts in. And it will be easy to basically see and do model farms that we can rely on. So ningependa kusema kwa hayo machache, sina mengi. I hope we'll meet again when we have the strategy, and we'll rely on you, the young people, to enrich the document that's about to be ready in 2 weeks' time. And tunazidi, when we meet, I hope that when we meet, it will be a better and having conversations of more success stories. Asanteni sana.
A better round of applause for George. Normally I say if we have to build a 2-man army, I will do it with George, because we've done a lot of work in the youth space with him. And you can feel some wisdom coming from him on behalf of GIZ. Pass our regards to Mr. Sena and the GIZ community for the kind of support that they give towards policy development, towards the establishment of the innovation platforms. And I'm sure a majority of us here belong to one innovation platform at least. We formed 3 for Kisumu that are sub-county based. And of course, we have a county innovation platform, which I support to coordinate. I want to invite Mr. Enos Were to continue with his presentation. After Enos, we will have Vincent from Victoria Youth Group to make their presentation. And then The last one for this session will be Robert Ouko from Food Systems. And each of them is going to spend about 10 minutes so that we don't take more time before lunch. Yes.
Good afternoon. Yeah, as we wait for the LCD, I want to say the part that would be relevant to most of the youth. I used also to be employed, one at the university as a lecturer, but one time I was told, what if I'm removed from the university to go and start a farm and I'm paid, my salary would be the salary of the highest paid professor, and I said yes. One, because I grew in a lot of poverty and I was looking for money. So that
Sorry,
was the
Enos.
first.
There was a friend of ours who was in charge of this laptop and the presentations. Please kindly set up Daktari so that, set up Mr. Were so that he can proceed with his presentation.
Yes. So that was good enough for me because I thought I wanted to be an employer, and I was wondering why continue being an employer at the university. But remember, I was still going to work for somebody, which I thought I would get a little more money and save. Then I went and worked. I think at the time that was the biggest fish farm in Kenya, Dominion Farms. And I checked when ESP was starting, I think we were producing 80% of all the fish that was stocked in Kenya. And one time I looked at myself and said, really, if we are the producer of fingerling and we are accounting for about 80%, then I asked myself, what much resources were we employing in production of this fish? Then I found it was mostly my brain and a few ponds and not a lot of money from my employer. Then I asked if there was no much money and we were producing about 1 million fingerlings a month and the employer is getting a lot of money. Why can't I live with that brain and then I go produce it for myself? So in 2010, I think me and my wife, we had some little money. We had some small piece of land in Mamboleo, which we had bought through a circle. So we sold that land, went to Kindu Bay, and started the farm that I'll show you with 4 ponds. And then we started selling. We produced fingerlings in the 4 ponds. I think we're doing about 150,000 per year because we started small. And then sending it to other farms that was actually supplying the ESP, which was the government program. And from there, we've then developed our own farm, mostly from our own funding. So I think that is what I want to say would be very relevant to our youth. Sometimes we check, and then, like Dr. Rodi said, who is also is one of my customers. That's how we met with the doctor. Yeah? They have very big customers. Then we adopted what we call the zero balance business. What's a zero balance business? Because we've always focused ourselves in growth, whenever we get money, we plow it back to to increase our business, and also make sure that we pay all the debts. You see, we have debts and profits. So if we get profits, we make sure the profit pays the debt. So we've run zero balance business for quite some time. We don't keep money for ourselves because we've still been wanting to enlarge. I think today we are not very rich, but we are still the biggest fingerling producer in the country. And normally we also don't shy from helping other people because we don't see them as competitors. And for us who know us, I think that is true. So the youth, you can always visit us and we move. So that is Juliet Enterprises. Where is my name? Jedida is my partner, and she's also my wife. So that means we are very good partners. Yes, I think when Dr. was talking about the rich man at the Abraham Blossom, I think even Jesus Christ believed not in poverty. Because when they had the problem with Peter, then we are not stumbling. The youth, people, when they see youth, they think